Hi there and welcome to Fluffy Jellyfish. Today I'm really excited to introduce you to a new member of the Fluffy Jellyfish family. This here is Elvis. Elvis is a 20-year-old Hermann's tortoise, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about his backstory and how he came to be living with us. Prior to coming to living with us, Elvis has had two owners. A friend of my parents contacted me on Facebook asking if I knew anybody that was looking to rehome a tortoise, as she was trying to help her cousin find a new home for Elvis. Her cousin's kids were getting a bit older and they were moving out, and she no longer had the time to look after Elvis and give him the attention that he deserves. So I went away and excitedly told Stuart all about all of this, and we decided pretty quickly that this is something that we wanted to take on. For a while now I've been researching the care of lots of different types of reptiles, so I knew that it was something that I wanted to add to the family, and this felt a little bit meant to be. Elvis's arrival would be a little bit sooner than we'd planned to add a new pet to the Fluffy Jellyfish family, but I was pretty confident that we had the space for him, as you can probably see behind me, and we knew that we could give him a really good temporary home until we move into our own permanent home, and then we'd be able to get him a fantastic space. So the house behind me that you can see just now is temporary, but it's more than adequate for the couple of months that he's going to be in it, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. So we got back in touch with my parents' friends and we arranged to meet up with her cousin so we could meet Elvis. It was at this point we became aware of Elvis's full story. These were the photos we received from my parents' friend, and I could tell from them that Elvis did not quite look the way that Hermann's tortoises were supposed to look. Hermann's tortoises originate from the Mediterranean side of Europe and are known for their yellow carapace, which has distinctive dark markings, which obviously he does have. They have a fixed plastron, nice rounded shells, strong legs that have thick scales and nails, and their upper jaws display a slight hook. And they're also less commonly called the Mediterranean spurred-tailed tortoise due to the horny tip at the end of their tails. Elvis does display all of these features, but sadly due to malnourishment and bad husbandry from his first owner, he has a fair few developmental issues. I'm so glad that Elvis found his way from that original family to his second family, who we got him from. They really saved his life. He's been housed in this small vivarium that you can see behind me for the whole of his life, and that's just not enough space for an adult tortoise. We were also told that he wasn't given any proper lighting, and most likely that his heat source wasn't regulated. He had a very minimal setup. He was also only being fed a handful of bagged salad every couple of days, which isn't nearly enough food, so it's no wonder that he suffered from malnutrition. And it's likely that he was going without any calcium supplements or vitamin supplements either. The situation was so bad that not long after moving in with his second family, Elvis completely collapsed and he was rushed to the vets. In Edinburgh, the best veterinary service for reptiles, I think probably the only one, is the Royal Dick School of Veterinary Studies. They're fantastic and really know what they're doing, and I have a lot of trust in them. They initially took care of his malnourishment issues, which were the most severe and caused him to collapse in the first place. He was put on a mix of critical care, which was fed through a feeding tube, and luckily Elvis is a little fighter and he pulled through very quickly and was put back onto solid foods and a normal proper diet. Unfortunately, metabolic bone disease cannot be treated. As you can see, his back legs have suffered the worst. When he was first brought to the vets, his legs were so bad that at one point they had to stick little Lego wheels onto the bottom of his shell to help pull his back legs along until they were strong enough to start moving again by themselves. Now his back legs are functional, but they are still weakened, and he doesn't have the full movement that you'd expect from a tortoise of his age. We help him try and exercise and stretch out his legs by feeding him with a food bowl. This means that he has to pull himself up into the food bowl to get to his food, which causes him to exercise his legs every day because they're stretching to get into the bowl. And he's very food motivated, so it's easy to get him to do this. We've also provided him with lots of climbing opportunities inside his enclosure, and we're hoping that through that and regular exercise free roaming around my room, he'll be able to strengthen these legs even more. So another of Elvis's, I suppose we call it now a little quirk because it's quite endearing, but originally we were a little bit concerned because it is the sign normally of a respiratory infection. Elvis whistles. If you're really quiet you can hear him. Where are you, sausage? Oh, you're behind me. Let's see if we can get you to hear him. Oh. So you hear that little whistling noise? Normally, yes, that would be a cause for concern and a sign of a respiratory infection, and it's something that you'd want to get checked out. Luckily for Elvis, or unluckily I suppose, it's because of the dip in his shell and the way that his shell has been formed. The dip at the front causes his head to sit too low, which causes the whistling sound in his breathing. We brought up this concern with his vet during his initial checkup, and we're told it's sadly that something that Elvis will have to deal with throughout his life, but not something that we need to worry about unless it gets really, really bad. Another thing that contributes to the whistling sound is Elvis's crooked jaw. As you can see, he has a little bit of a crooked smile, and part of his beak is malformed, as is his jaw, and that also contributes to the whistling noise. But we love his little crooked smile, don't we, Sausage? While all of these factors show off exactly what not to do with your tortoise and what examples of bad husbandry can lead to, Elvis will be able to live out the rest of his life with only a few little adaptations to his normal tortoise lifestyle. He's a little fighter and a great character, and we've fallen in love with him so much already. As I mentioned earlier, at the moment Elvis is living in a temporary home. We've set up the vivarium that he came with inside this old IKEA bookcase. We filled it with topsoil and have added a few fun additions for him. There's a few hides, banked up dirt for him to climb in, a big terracotta dish for him to soak in, a mineral block which he completely ignores, and some rocks. This enclosure is much better than what he was in before, but this is not his final home. If you read my blog recently, you'll know that at the moment we're living with my parents and have plans to move into our own home in the not too distant future. So Stuart is a carpenter and his head is already brimming with ideas for what we're going to build for Elvis when we're in this more permanent space. Elvis is going to have a huge big custom built indoor tortoise table for when the weather is bad, and when the weather is good we're going to make sure that we have a huge outdoor enclosure for him as well. We want to make sure that we can get a home with a garden so we can build a great outdoor run for him in the summer months. At the moment obviously it's winter here, so it's been quite a good time for us to get him because we don't have to worry about too much about taking him outside because it's way too cold at the moment anyway. Unfortunately we got him a little bit late in the year, so we couldn't hibernate him, we didn't have enough time to prepare him for that, and actually Elvis has never been hibernated for the whole of his life. So that's something we're going to consult our vets about for next year, and we hope to hibernate him next year, but I'll obviously keep you updated with that and talk more about that in the future. We're so happy to have Elvis in our family, and I'm so excited to have my first ever reptile. It's a bit of a milestone and it's really, really exciting, and Elvis is such a little character. I love him so much already. I hope you're going to hit the subscribe button so you can see more of Elvis's adventures in the future, because there's so much that I want to do with him, especially when we move and can build that final house, and I really want to document all of that. As you might have gathered, I'm obviously a new tortoise parent, so if you have any tips for me on tortoise care, please drop them in the comments below, and if you've got any tips for custom building your own tortoise house, please do leave them in the comments below. I want to make the best possible space we can for Elvis and give him the best life that we possibly can. If you love Elvis as much as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more future videos from us. We can't wait to see you in our next video. Fluffy Jellyfish out.